Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Choppin It Up with Ramel. Hey, listen, it's Sunday. Great time for football. What a week! What a day it was in college football. We're about to face our first controversial college football playoff scenario with the win of Ohio State over Michigan. Listen, guys, I'll be the first one to say I believe it should be the top 6 teams. Well, put it this way. I think it should be 6 playoff teams, 4 divisional winners, 2 wild cards. Because right now, as it stands, if Penn State beats Wisconsin in the championship game of the Big Ten, there's no doubt in my mind that Penn State and Ohio State both will represent in the Final Four. Because right now, with the win over Michigan, Ohio State is number 2 in the country. They're number 2 in the country. So somebody like Washington, who's the winner of the Pac-12, or Clemson, who may win the ACC, may not get in. Because we know Alabama's going to be there. Alabama will be there. What a big win that was last night. Yesterday afternoon, I should say, of Ohio State in double overtime over Michigan. And now, Penn State, they went on their winning ways. They beat Michigan State. So they're going to represent in the championship game against Wisconsin. Man, this is going to be something interesting after next week. In about 10 days, it'll all figure out. But I don't see Ohio State knocking off the number 3 team, dropping from the number 2 spot. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But moving right along into the pros, the NFL that is, we got 4 games. 4 games slated that I think are going to have some relevance and some importance. That's Arizona going into Atlanta, Carolina going into Oakland, Kansas City into Denver, and of course, my boys will host the Green Bay Packers going into Philly. Those are the 4 games I want you guys to watch out. Arizona was picked by many to be a championship team and represent the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. They're one of the most disappointing teams in my mind. There's 4 of them. No particular order: Cincinnati, Arizona, Carolina, and the Jets. 4 most disappointing teams this year. But with that said, Arizona is definitely capable of going into Atlanta and knocking Atlanta's boots off. And I'm going to tell you, Atlanta coming off the bye week better be prepared. And you know my motto: stars need to play like stars when stars need to be stars. And Matt Ryan and Julio Jones need to be stars. Because that defense that Arizona has, it's going to be a tough one. And it's somewhat a homecoming for Kondichi. I wonder how he's going to respond playing at the Georgia Dome and his home, having some friends and family for sure at the game. So it should be a fun game today. But look for Arizona to bring everything they got, because mathematically they still have a chance at the wild card. I don't see it happening. The team I think that can come from the rear view and make this interesting at the end is going to be the Carolina Panthers. I think they will go into Oakland and pull off the upset today. No doubt in my mind, they will pull off the upset, and I look for Oakland. Play tough, but I think Carolina, here's the thing, man. 2 years in a row, we had Russell Wilson representing the NFL, going back-to-back championship. Cam Newton at 15-1 last year. He was the face. Now there's a new face, Dak Prescott. I don't think Cam Newton is going to take a back seat to the rookie. I think he's going to show what he's made of, and I look for them to have a strong finish to the end and make this a contest of getting into some good races and into the playoff races. I look for Cam Newton to make a run. No doubt in my mind, I look for him to make a run. And then Kansas City and Denver. The loser of this might make it interesting for that second wild card spot, because Miami is just come out of nowhere. They've won 3 in a row. They put themselves in the playoff picture. They're led by a running back who's had a sensational year. He had 2 games back-to-back of over 200 yards on the ground. They're not out of this by no stretch of the imagination. Look for Miami to continue on, and the loser of this may have to fight it out for the second wild card. So this is a big game between Kansas City and Denver. And then, of course, the eliminator game. Yes, the eliminator game for both Green Bay and Philly tomorrow night. Green Bay, all sorts of problems. I think it's time for Mike McCarthy to go. They need a new voice there. But at the end of the day, they rarely lose 3 in a row. We'll see what happens. However, Philly, it's a must-win. You're at home. You gotta hold home field. This is a must-win for you. All right? So I see Philly coming out strong. I think they get the win. No doubt in my mind. I think they get the win. It should be interesting. Moving along to the NBA, the association. My boys couldn't do it, the Knicks. I didn't expect them to go into Charlotte and pull off the home and home. However, anytime you go down 21 points in the first quarter, it's a recipe for disaster. It's challenging for any team to come back from that, especially the way Kemba Walker was playing. I talked about it yesterday on the show, and I bring it up again. Kemba Walker, is he a top 10 point guard in this league? Is he? Can you name 10 that's better than him? I don't think so. I had some friends of mine, pretty much got him 6. All right? I'm looking at it right now. The only 5 I can put ahead of him right now, I could put more than 5, but the 5 I will put ahead of him is easily Westbrook, Kyrie, Curry, Dame Lillard, Chris Paul, John Wall, Lowry, and possibly Mike Conley Jr. just because of his floor general prowess. But at the end of the day, if you said he's 6, I will not argue. This guy is a talented ball player. Sometimes he does not get the credit he's due. No, Jeff Teague, no. Tony Parker, no. Schroeder, no. Drazen Petrovic, no. Reggie Jackson, no. George Hill, no. I mean, is there any more point guards out there? Derrick Rose, no. Rondo, no. Milwaukee don't even have a point guard, so we can't even go there. The Magic's point guard, he's too young. Philly don't have a point guard. Who else is out there? Oh, the point guard in Sacramento, no. Tim Frazier's looking good. Drew Holiday's come back. He's playing well. But no, Moutier, not yet. I mean, here's the thing. Who is out there? I don't see it. I don't see it. No. And no knock on the rest of the point guard. This guy is just a phenomenal talent, man. That's the bottom line. Man, he willed that win last night against the Knicks, and it was good. He was at home. The arena was rocking. Michael Jordan was smiling. Just, hey, good quality win for him, man. The guy's a baller. He won at college level. And I can see him maybe getting close to winning a championship somewhere down the line, man. You never know, man. You never know. People retire. People age. You know, you never know. Maybe North Carolina becomes a destination where free agents wants to go. You know, but you just keep an eye on that guy. He's a phenomenal player. You can rest assured he ain't leaving Charlotte. Michael Jordan's going to hold on to that guy. That guy there, yes. Moving right along, San Antonio continue their winning ways. They're 10-0 on the road. They continue to win. It's just phenomenal. OKC, what can we say about Westbrook, man? This was my favorite of MVP, and nothing has changed. I don't care if he finishes 8th, 7th, 6th, or 5th. I was once told you got to finish 4th or better to be an MVP. Nah, he's having the most outstanding season. He's on the verge of averaging a triple-double. He's willing his team on his back to victories by himself. I mean, Steven Adams is a good player, but he's not an offensive player. Andre Robertson is a pretty good defender, not an offensive player. Oladipo is still finding his own because if he was there, Orlando wouldn't have traded him for Ibaka. This guy is doing it by himself. Man, what a phenomenal talent. Golden State continues their winning ways. No Draymond Green, no problem. They go and beat up on Minnesota. But let me get back to OKC. They invade the Garden Monday night to play my Knicks. Should be a tough game. I mean, Westbrook is a problem. Should be a very tough game. The Knicks have been winning at home. This is a must-win game for the Knicks. Let's see what happens. But it should be fun to watch. Anytime Westbrook comes to the Garden, you know he's going to be electric. playing in front of all those celebs and so forth. I mean, it's the Garden, and it's buzzing again. It's buzzing again. You know, and it's buzzing again, and it's not from the Rangers. It's from the New York Knicks. They're playing well at home. Let's just face it. They're playing well at home. So, I got something here. Okay, a little text message. Okay. I see what it's saying. Kemba Walker is a top 5 point guard. Nah, I don't see that happening. But, you know, I can't argue with you guys. I really can't. I can't argue with you guys if you feel that he's a top 10, a top 5 point guard. I mean, the guy's he's a good ball player, and I just don't doubt it. I really don't doubt it. So we'll see what happens. But I do got him in my top 10 easily. Easily in my top 10. So, is that a caller on the line? Is there a caller on the line? Who's calling? It's DC. DC, welcome back to the show, DC. It's been a minute. How you doing?
Good.
All right. What you got for me this time around?
Trying to think of a question. So, Nerlens Noel on the Sixers, their whole roster I think in my opinion has improved from last year, but not enough to get them to the playoffs. How do you think they'll do against teams that are like really good, like the Spurs, the Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Okay. So you think Nerlens will get traded to a team like Cleveland or San Antonio?
Well, I mean, he can get traded to there's a couple trades that he can get traded to a good team.
Okay.
I mean, he's a really good player coming off the bench, but if the Sixers really want to have some firepower on their starters,
okay,
they need to start Bjorn and Jahlil Okafor.
So they need this. Well, you know, here's my thing about this, DC, and personally, until those guys over there prove that they can be healthy, I wouldn't trade Nerlens Noel. I really don't. I like to see what they look like when Ben Simmons get back. My thing is this: if you have Joel Embiid that can play center, you have a power forward in Okafor, and then you have Noel's coming off the bench. To me, that's a three-headed monster that you should be able to find 25 to 30 minutes for them all. Now, if you have plans to play Ben Simmons at a stretch 4, that's a different scenario. Because when I look at Embiid, DC, and I'm not sure how much you've watched him, but when I look at him, he doesn't necessarily take over the paint the way Okafor. So I don't think those two will clash. And then when one sit down, you have the luxury of bringing in Nerlens Noel. Nerlens, I wouldn't trade him so quick. I like to see how they work out. And keep this in mind to the fans out there as well that's watching and listening. In the NBA, you don't trade for talent. You trade based off of salary. So here's a guy that is projected to be a star in this league, and Noel's. But the question is, at $4 or $5 million a year, what are you going to get back in return if you Philly? You're probably not going to get much. So I wouldn't rush to trade any of those guys because they're all on rookie salaries of $5 million or less. You're not going to get enough talent back. I mean, I wouldn't rush the judgment to trade them right away. But DC, to your point, it looks like they probably will trade him.
So my next question was, the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of people are saying Russell Westbrook going on MVP, and yes, he had 7 triple-doubles, which is amazing, but in the first start of the season, but he as MVP, he's becoming, like, people are saying he's going to become an MVP candidate for the season, but you need a good team to follow that up with the MVP season. Like, not saying that the Thunder aren't a good team, they're definitely a playoff team. It's just that Westbrook's, whenever he gets the ball, he's gonna take over. He's gonna try and take over the game the whole time. no matter if it's passing, rebounding, scoring, he's going to try to take over the game. And you have to let your teammates take over it too. You have to trust your teammates like that.
Well,
it's something that Westbrook doesn't do.
Well,
he doesn't trust his teammates to take over the game and let him get a break because he has 7 triple doubles.
Here's the thing about Westbrook, and your point is valid there. Before the season started, DC, I clearly had him my favorite as MVP, and that doesn't change. I'm not one of those that think that he has to finish in the top 4 in the playoff race, his team, for him to get MVP. What he's doing is phenomenal. He's on the verge of possibly doing something that hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson, and that's average a triple-double. On his team, his next best talented player is probably Oladipo, and he hasn't reached his potential yet, and if he had, Orlando would have never traded him. That's just my opinion. He really don't have anyone that he can go to or help or can help him in the game's close. I think what he's doing with a team that's limited on offense as they are, the fact that he's averaging nearly a double-double in assists, apparently he's getting these guys easy shots. He's making the game easier for everybody else because even Andre Robertson is a beneficiary from some of his passing, and he can't score a lick. Steven Adams is a guy you want on your team, but he's really offensively challenged. And he's playing with a rookie with Sabonis. And then, like I said, Oladipo, if he was at that level of where his potential can be, Orlando would have never traded him. I tell you what, I think he's going to need some help at the wing spot that can offer some scoring, that can pick up some of the slack that was lost with Kevin Durant gone. But, DC, I'm going to throw 2 names at you, and I want to ask you, what do you think about these 2 names? I think that a Rudy Gay from Sacramento, a trade there, he could play the wing. This is a guy who averages about 20 points a game for his career. He's on the trading blocks. And then December 15th is a special day in the NBA because those are the days that players who were signed in the offseason by teams can be traded. They cannot be traded before then. I like to see a Harrison Barnes over there. He's battle-tested. He's won a championship. He has some athleticism. He can play a stretch 4 as well as the 3. He can shoot the open shot. Although Dallas is down and out this season, DC, he's averaging 20 points a game over there. He's the only bright spot over there. So, to your point, he's going to need somebody he can trust. But right now, his roster don't have anybody he can trust. I like to see a Rudy Gay or a Harrison Barnes over there. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, Rudy Gay would be a nice fit for the Thunder. It would definitely help Westbrook to finally have another person that can help take over and do some stuff. But Harrison Barnes, I'm not a big fan of him because I did not like him in the playoffs.
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather have Rudy Gay on the Thunder because Harrison Barnes didn't do nothing in the playoffs for the Warriors, and then now he wants to hit a bunch of shots with the Mavericks. And I mean, I also don't see him going to the Thunder. I don't see that being the trade. So I would love to see Rudy Gay on the Thunder.
Okay.
But it also hurt Sacramento a lot because they haven't made it to the playoffs in a long time. So,
right. You're absolutely right.
Until they do become a playoff team, they need someone to match up with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think DeMarcus Cousins might be traded before the deadline this season. I'm not sure where he's going to go. I mean, if I was the Thunder, I would offer Steven Adams and a bunch of players, or either Enes Kanter and a bunch of players for DeMarcus Cousins. I think DeMarcus Cousins is going to be on the move. I think Sacramento is very dysfunctional. But I want to say something about Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is a better player than what we saw him in Dallas. I think what happened, coming out of North Carolina, he came out with the hype like he can lead a team and be a Batman. I don't think he's necessarily a Batman, but I think he's capable of being a Robin. When he played with Golden State, he had to sacrifice so much. This is a guy that really was the forgotten guy. And a lot of times the play wasn't called to him. The ball happened. It was like a hot potato when it came to him. And he had to shoot it because most of the time the shot clock was winding down, or he just simply didn't expect the ball. And I think it might have cost him his game a little bit. But when he's put in a position where he can be a lead player or maybe the second best player on the team, he's capable of balling. And that's why we're seeing him on a bad Dallas team right now. And even though they're bad, but he's getting 20-plus points a game. He's a bright spot. This is a talented player. But to your point, yeah, he looked like he froze often and choked in the playoff. But a lot of times, nothing was designed for him. You know, he didn't have the respect that he deserved. He's getting a lot more respect now while he's in Dallas because he's getting paid to be a lead option, and he's playing like one right now. But that was definitely a good comment, DC. Definitely a good comment.
And one last question about your team.
Sure.
So the three main players, Derrick Rose, Melo, and Porzingis, a lot of people are saying Melo's getting too old. He's going to get too old to shoot. And that happens to a lot of players, but it doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen to players like Melo. So even when Melo reaches the age of 34, do you think he'll still be a top 10 player, or do you think he'll go down a little bit?
One of the things that's going to help Melo as he gets older, but really affects him now, is that Melo is more fundamental than we think of him. And one thing about when you play in sports, even if you're old, because right now, DC, if we were in the park playing ball right now and somebody who 50 years old has played the game on a college level or maybe a pro level, believe me, if he's fundamental, he'll go out there and beat us in horse and maybe even beat us in a half-court game. Because one thing, fundamentals never leave you. And Carmelo is a very fundamental kind of ball player. Shoots the mid-range. He posts up. He lacks athleticism. And a lot of times the athleticism is what leaves you first. He doesn't have that. And that's what's hurting him now, is that he doesn't have athleticism, because with the point guards that the Knicks have and Rose and Jennings that want to push, he brings it up like it's the 90s. He's not an athletic player. So as Melo get older, maybe his shots will be less and less because of more talent around him, but his efficiency will still be there. You know, last night he was 8 for 20. I wish he would have passed the ball a little bit more. But the night before, when he had 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists, he's as efficient as anybody. And his mid-range game is one of the best in the game. So I think Melo will be okay getting older. It's just a matter of him having better players around him. You know, we watched Kobe Bryant last year because the team wasn't quite ready. You know, it didn't help him out. If he was on a better team, I think we would have seen a better Kobe. You know, so that's going to play an important role. For instance, Kevin Garnett last year in Minnesota, he wasn't around better players. He didn't play at all. So it all depends on what these players are surrounded by as they get older. But that's a good comment.
And like you said, that Melo, he lacked athleticism really throughout his whole career, but it wasn't as bad as it is today. And as he gets older, I mean, it really happens to every player, but it doesn't happen to a lot of players where you get too old to shoot the ball.
Uh-huh.
But if it does happen to Melo, then he needs to become more of a passer as well, because he's just used to playing on bad teams that he needs the ball a lot of the time to have the team win.
Well, your point is valid, and what I've been saying as a Knicks fan and watching Melo, he's always been a willing passer. It's just that he had nobody who can finish. So it looks like he never passes the ball because he lacks assists. But now that he has a little better talent around him, I mean, even in a game where he scores 35 points, he still managed to get 5 assists. It's because now he can pass it to players who can shoot an open shot or make a layup. In a couple of seasons ago, that wasn't happening for New York. And he was still a willing passer, but because nobody can finish, it looks like he wasn't passing the ball. Well, this is what I'm going to do, DC. I appreciate you calling in. every Sunday I'm going to try to do a live show. So if you're available next Sunday, please call in. I love to hear from you. Your insight is much greater than your age, and you're a student of the game for sure. And I say to you, man, keep that passion, keep that love, man, because I can envision you playing college ball or maybe doing something that I'm doing right now, because your insight is testing mine. So good call, and I look to hear from you in the future. You have a blessed day, all right?
All right, thanks.
All right.
Ramel, DC.
All right. Hey, guys, that's DC, man, calling in, man. What a good kid, man. Man, hey, his questions, man, they're for real. This ain't no 10-year-old, man. This is a guy that's ready, man. His questions is definitely insightful and thought-provoking, man. I mean, hey, but good call, and I appreciate the call. Listen, that's going to do it for me, man. For today's edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. As I always say, I see you in 24. You guys have a great day. Peace and blessings.